Shalom, people. This is Brother Lyles coming at you with another video, and I want to talk about this thing with the Republican presidential candidate Vivek Rum. I can't pronounce his name. Ramaswamy or whatever his name is. Basically, going around here trying to pretend that um, the things that have happened to us here in the black community here in America and indeed around the world is totally on our shoulders, that we must bear the blame for everything that is going on in our community. And although we do have to do self-reflection, we do have some things that we need to definitely cry loud and spare not against, yet those that did contribute, their responsibility cannot be hidden. And basically him and the Republican Party is committed to hide all the atrocities that this nation has done to us and is still yet committed to our destruction overall. They want to basically just shift all responsibility of all the things that's happening in our community. They want to hold it at a micro level. They don't want to. They don't want to look at the macro reason. They don't want to look at the bigger picture because they have something to do with the bigger picture. So I must say I was somewhat refreshed a little bit when I was looking at this news conference that Vivek Ramaswamy was doing in Iowa, because that's one of the places that hold the early primary. So presidential candidates go there to campaign, and so he was campaigning in some city there in Iowa, and it was this Ghanaian pastor. I guess he must have immigrated here to America when he was young, because he said I guess he'd been here for about 20 years, and he's a pastor of some church there, I guess, and he came up on stage with Ramaswamy and told him he wanted to talk to him basically about, I guess, some of the things dealing with systemic racism and the causes of it. And he started off by saying, well, will you do some push-ups with me? And they did a little push-up challenge, and then he got up and asked him these different questions, and then basically Ramaswamy got up there and basically said, blacks wanted to do anything about racism, they should have did it in 1870. I was like, really? Did you hear about the Great Compromise, that how we as black people in the first 12 years after the Civil War, how we were coming up and how it was sabotaged? Are you going to conveniently look over the Jim Crow laws? You're going to conveniently look over us being convicted of crimes of loitering and all these different things? Are you gonna look at the burning of our towns, our cities that we built, that were economic engines to us, which and the stealing all the land? But and it really showed me again that this is why the Democratic Party is not reaching out to us as black people, because they understand that as black people see these things, there's no way that black people would even be able to pretend to want to go to the side of the Republicans convincingly. I'm saying, now you do have some channels out there, you do have some black people out there that are putting up a good front that, hey, we this, that, and another, but they're doing it mostly for money. I'm telling you, because I don't see no wholesale. Now understand what I'm saying. I'm not for the Democrats. I'm not. But the old saying, you dance with the partner that you came to the party with or whatever. I don't think we should be with either party. But I do not believe that black people are going to leave out from the frying pan of the Democratic Party and go into the fire of the Republicans. I don't believe it. We should dump both of them because both of them have our demise at hand. And the only difference is that the Republicans are just straight up telling you we ain't got nothing for you here. Don't even think about it. So all those black quote unquote conservatives or whatever, they must be looking at the fact that they don't think that they're black, because if they can't sit up there and push back against some of this crazy stuff that people like Vivek Ramaswamy is saying, if they can't push back at that, they have the ultimate of the illusion of hypnotizing. Somebody must have hypnotized them that when they look in the mirror, they're seeing a white face. They can't be black and sit up there and clap for that man and give that man. Here's a man from Africa, and we have had arguments in the last couple of years about some of these naturalized African citizens that had came here and have sided with the Republican Party against us because they don't empathize with the historical racism and white supremacy that we have dealt with. But it was refreshing to see this Ghanaian pastor that he is getting at. I don't know totally, he could be quote unquote a Republican, maybe, I don't know, but just for the fact that he talked to Ramaswamy that, hey, there is a cause and effect for the racism and stuff here. It was refreshing. Now, hopefully, they don't, he don't turn out to be, a supporter of any of those other Republican candidates some kind of way, because sometimes they'll try to spin it and they say, here's a difference, right? And then, it kind of reminds me of Steele, Governor Steele. I can't remember his name. He was a Republican from Maryland that was real big in the Republican Party during the second Bush term. And when he finally, had enough gumption to stand up against the Republican Party, because he was a black Republican, he stood up against them and started saying some of the stuff y'all saying is bad. They kicked him out. They basically kicked him out. And that's when you start seeing him on CNN and all these other places. And he was like, well, I'm the other side of the voice of black conservative that's brave enough to, but he lost his status in the Republican Party because they didn't want to hear no flip side of that. So I would say to any black Republican that would say, well, I'm the flip side of the black Republicans, that was not afraid to stand up to the white conservatives, I'm telling you, you're not going to have a voice within them. You might as well hang up your coat of Trumpism and whatever else that you think that you support, because they're not going to accept you after you push back against any of their ridiculous narratives they have about the status of black people was our problem after the Civil War. That's totally ridiculous. You're looking at some of the things that happened to us that was even worse than the Civil War that they sent us through. Can you imagine all of our people that fought in the military and what happened to them? How they was court-martialed, and some of them were killed, some of them were lynched in their uniform. Can you think about a race of people that would have put up with what we did, but yet you're gonna tell us, and not to mention that a lot of the people that fought in the Civil War was our people, runaway slaves that helped save the Union Army. So that's get away with all this stupid stuff that Nikki Haley is talking about. Now understand, and I'm going to end my video. What she said in the sense of the Civil War was not about slavery. It was about slavery in the sense of they wanted to keep us enslaved. That is true. The South wanted to keep us enslaved. But on the North side, if Lincoln said if he could have kept the South in check without freeing a single slave, he would have. So in a way, that is correct when it comes to the North. And you had many in the North who were called Copperheads that did not want to go to war with the South. And in fact, along the generals that were in the North and the South, most of them were buddies that came through West Point had fought in the Spanish-American War, so a lot of them could have flipped on either side. Some of the generals that was in the South could have been generals in the North, and some of the generals in the North could have been generals in the South, because you could see that Grant had been a colonel that was there at Harper's Ferry that it caught John Brown. So he was once part of the Union Army. They just changed uniform. That's why some people believe that some of the Union generals was not even fighting that hard, because they actually were Southern sympathizers secretly. And Lincoln had to fire and bring some of them back many times, because it seemed like they didn't have the heart to fight against them. But it was, in that sense, yes, for the South, it was about slavery, because they wanted to keep us enslaved. But for the North, if they could have, it was about the South ceding from us. And yeah, it was some abolitionists and people that was sympathetic that they wanted slavery. But be not deceived that it was a lot of people in the North that if the South would say, you know what, if y'all just let us keep slaves, we won't secede from the Union. They would have told Lincoln, you better end the war today. I guarantee you that. And the reason I know that, they would have never had that great compromise where after the 12 years they pulled out the Union troops too soon, and then basically left us at the mercy of the South, of the Klan and all these night riders. They wouldn't have never did it. And the Devil's Punch Bowls, where these Union troops, and I don't believe that the only Devil's Punch Bowl was there in Mississippi. I believe there were Devil Punch Bowls all around this country after the Civil War, where they was trying to downsize the amount of slaves that was in the South, because they said our numbers at the time of the Civil War is about 3 million. I believe that they chopped that number down, because they said the estimates of the amount of slaves that died after the Civil War because of starvation and hunger and not, having a place to go was close to 1 million. So that again shows me, yes, slavery for the South was the cause of the Civil War, because they didn't want to give up slavery. But for the North, it was just the fact that the Union was the Southern states was ceding from the Union, and they did not want that. So with that, I'm gonna say, what is our hope? It definitely cannot be in the black conservatives, it never has been. But it's not in the black Democrats, neither the black liberals. It's not. So this is why we got to pray for the Most High to send back His Son. The Bible said that no man would redeem you in this land of your captivity. No man. And I'm gonna say this to our brothers and sisters in Africa that are of the tribes. The Chinese and the Russians are not going to redeem you neither. They might come in bearing gifts for a little while, but once they get what they want concerning the West, because they want to destroy the West, which we know is going to happen. Once they destroy the West and they alone are standing as the New World Order, they're going to change their tune. No man is going to save you. No man is going to redeem you except Yeshua. He is the only one that is going to redeem you. The rest of them are going to turn their back on you. They're not going to redeem you. They're going to, for a time. That does not mean that, like I said, some of our African nations are doing things that they haven't done, but don't believe the hype about the Chinese and the Soviets. I'm telling you, they don't really mean you in the end any good. So with that, I'm going to ask you to give this video a thumbs up. I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. I'll ask you to subscribe. Be blessed.